Yo, what's going on, guys? So for this video today, I want to talk about something that I feel is pretty important, but at the same time, I don't think a lot of people consider this. I think a lot of people overlook this in a way. And what I'm getting at here is our opinions. We all have opinions. Some opinions that align with each other and some opinions that are different. We disagree. And this is something that is bigger than just Halo. But for this video, I want to keep this just about Halo. And quick note on the gameplay before I go any further. This gameplay you guys are watching, this is actually the most kills I've ever gotten in a matchmaking game of Halo. Out of all the Halos, this is the game where I've gotten the most kills. I think I get like 102 kills and I go like positive 83. I understand people have probably gotten way more than that, but this is just my personal record. So let's get into this. So in the Halo community, you got a lot of different people who play Halo for different reasons. And all of us that play Halo, we all don't always agree on everything, which is obvious. Like, there can be something that a ton of people hate about the game, but then there's also a ton of people who like that same thing. We don't always agree. There's so many different controversial topics when it comes to Halo. You know, things like sprint and armor abilities, and you know, some people loved Halo 4, some people hated Halo 4. There's all different kind of things that people don't agree on when it comes to Halo. So here's where I'm going with all this, because everything I've said so far is pretty obvious. That's, you know, it's no secret that we all don't agree on the same things when it comes to Halo. That is no secret to anyone. But here's what this is really all about. As of lately, 343, they've done a pretty good job at listening to player feedback and responding to the community. You know, Postums and Sketch and some others, they've done a really good job at this. And that is great. That is awesome, that they're taking feedback from the community. That is what we should want. But when it comes to them listening to the community and taking player feedback and our requests, there's one thing that I feel is being overlooked, and that one thing I feel like is pretty important. And that one thing is, how much experience do these people giving feedback have with playing Halo? Like, when did they start playing Halo? Did they start with Halo CE? Did they start with Reach, or did they start with Halo 5? Also, how much time have they put into the game? How much do they play Halo? And how much are they going to play it in the future? Now, it's not realistic for me to assume that 343 should know how much every player has played Halo when they started and how much they're going to play in the future. No, that's not realistic at all. That's crazy. But at the same time, I do feel like knowing that, having that knowledge, is very, very, very important. Because people who started playing Halo with Reach, or 4 or 5, and players who just don't put a lot of time into the game, they might want drastically different things for Halo than those players who started playing from the beginning with Halo 1 and players who put a ton of time into the game. And here's why that's a problem, because there's a lot of different things that people either like or dislike about Halo, and most of it's just opinion based. If I say Halo 4 and 5 are a bad game, most of it is just opinion based. If I say Halo 4 and 5 sucked, it's just my opinion. If I say Sprint is bad for Halo, my opinion. Halo 3 had the best art style out of any Halo game. Again, just my opinion. You get where I'm going with this. But although most of this stuff isn't factual, it's all just opinion based, we all have these different opinions when it comes to Halo. And I know this is going to piss some people off, but I stand by this. Not everybody's opinion should hold the same weight. And like I said, this isn't even just about Halo. I feel that way when it comes to anything. How much credibility your statements and opinions have should be determined by how much experience you have with something. And like, I know that's going to piss some people off and they're going to disagree with that, but like, that just makes too much sense to me. That makes too much sense to me. I can't see how anyone would disagree with that. How does that not make sense? Please tell me how that doesn't make sense. How could you disagree with that? Like, I don't watch basketball, but let's say someone who has been watching basketball their entire life and they know a ton about the sport. Let's say they make a statement saying a certain player is dog shit at the game. He sucks, right? That's his opinion. And then here I come, who fucking never watches basketball, who can probably only name like a total of like 4 players, and I say, no, he's not dog shit. He's really good. He's great. I think he's excellent. You're wrong. And I don't even watch basketball. Should my opinion be valued the same way? Is my opinion just as credible as his? No. And that's my whole thing here, is that 343, they get a lot of feedback and requests from the community. But I don't think they're really considering who this feedback is coming from. I think they value everyone's opinion the same. I think they look at numbers a lot of the time. Like, maybe 100 people want this in the game, but only 20 people don't want it in the game. Alright, let's put it in the game. And like I said, it's not realistic for me to expect them to know everything about everybody who gives them feedback, right? Like, they can't know. I mean, they could look up stats. You can look up their gamer tags and see how much they've played each game and stuff like that, but it's not realistic for me to expect them to do that. I get that. I'm more or less just trying to explain why I feel like everybody's opinion should not be valued the same. Now, let me make it clear right now that what I am not saying is that people who started playing Halo with Reach or later, and people that don't put a ton of time into the game, I am not saying that their opinions mean nothing. That 343 should not value their opinions at all. I am not saying that. Like, let's just make that clear. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that their opinions hold zero value. No. But the opinions of those who put a ton of time into the game and have been playing since Halo 1 or 2 or 3, I think their opinion should hold a little more weight, and I don't think I'm crazy for saying that. Like, there's things I dislike about some other games, like Counter-Strike and Overwatch and Rainbow Six Siege, Gears of War, Quake, but I don't play a ton of them games. I don't. I have not logged in a ton of time into them games at all. And I would never, ever go into a discussion with a bunch of veteran players from any of them games and act like I know what the fuck I'm talking about. And I would have no problem accepting that, hey, I haven't played this game as much as all these other people, so their opinion should mean more than mine. Like, I would have no problem with that. But let me keep it real with you. Let's say I'm talking to a bunch of players who have logged so much time into Rainbow Six Siege, right? And I'm talking to them, and I say, I don't like the ability in the game that one of the operators have. I think it's the operator Pulse. I don't like the ability that allows you and all your teammates to see through walls for a couple seconds. I don't like that ability. I think it should be taken out of the game. And let's say all these other players, these veteran players of Rainbow Six Siege, they all say, no, it should be in the game. We want it in the game. I probably wouldn't just lay down and stop talking and be like, oh, you're right, you guys played the game longer. You're right, I'm wrong. You guys know what you're talking about. You've been playing longer than me. So that right there, that kind of goes against what I've been saying this whole time. I'm kind of contradicting myself. I said those who have more experience with something, their opinions should hold more weight. And yet that alone wouldn't be enough for me to just say, okay, you're right, you know what you're talking about, I'm wrong, I'll move on. Now let's say I continue the discussion with these Rainbow Six Siege players, right? We're still talking about whether this ability that allows you to see through walls, I forget what the ability's called because I don't play a ton of Siege, but there is an ability like that in the game that lasts a couple seconds. Let's say we're still talking about that. I say it shouldn't be in the game, and all these other players who've been playing for a long time say it should be. And let's say they say something to me along the lines of, oh, that ability that'll let you see through walls, that is a counter for another ability that a different operator has. And without that ability being in the game, that lets you see through them walls for a couple seconds, that other ability would be OP, because now it would have no counter to it. Let's say they say something like that to me. Now, if that was the case, then I'd probably say something along the lines of, oh, okay, I didn't think about that. You know, that makes a lot of sense. You guys are right. The ability, it should stay in the game. You know, I might not agree with what they're saying right away, but after they explain it, then I can see where they're coming from, and then I can agree with them. And even if they didn't explain it to me, right? Even if they just, all they said was, no, it should be in the game, and I'm just saying, no, it shouldn't, I'd still think to myself, maybe I'm the one who's wrong. Maybe all of these players who've been playing the game for a really long time that are saying this ability should be in the game, and I'm the only one here saying it shouldn't, maybe I'm wrong. That's what I would think to myself. But when it comes to Halo, it just doesn't seem like a lot of people have that same mentality. You know what I would really like to see? And let's just assume this is even possible. I would love to take everybody who plays Halo and just put them out in some big open field together. And then I would want somebody to ask them, by a show of hands, who likes sprint in Halo? Alright, hands down. Who doesn't like sprint in Halo? You know, I would love to see that. That would be really interesting to me. But you know what I would love to see even more than that? Is if you split everybody up. On one side, you got people who started playing Halo with Reach or later. And then on the other side, you got people who started playing Halo with Halo 1 through 3. And then you ask that question again. Who likes sprint in Halo? And who doesn't like sprint in Halo? I would love to see how that... I would love to see how that looks. Because I think that would speak fucking volumes. You know, it's a good thing that 343 takes feedback and listens to the community. That is a good thing. But when they're getting a bunch of requests from people, it's just like, who were these requests coming from? Who are they coming from? Are they coming from people that barely play the game and that aren't going to play the game much going forward? Or are they coming from people that have sunk a ton of time into Halo and they have days and weeks and months of playtime into Halo? Because that just matters so much. It really does. Like, again, I'm not saying people that don't play a lot of Halo or started playing Halo later on that they shouldn't have a voice. I'm not saying that at all. But with something like, I don't know, Sprint in Halo, if you got, you know, 1,000 people advocating for Sprint to be in Halo Infinite, and these 1,000 people barely play the game, and then you got another 1,000 people who don't want sprint in the game, and they're going to be playing this game all day, every day, then they should get their way. It should not be a 50-50 split. Everybody's opinion holds the same weight. No. No, the 1,000 people that are going to be playing this game a ton, they should get their way. Hell, even if it was 500 people who are going to play a ton of Halo Infinite that don't want sprint in the game versus 1,000 people that do want sprint in Halo Infinite that are barely going to play the game, fuck, the 500 people should get their way. Now, if it's 1,000 versus like 20 people, then no. Then no. That's where those 1,000 people should have a voice, and you should value their opinion more. You know, when it's that drastic. And that's what I don't like, is that people that either just started playing the game, or people that don't play much Halo at all, is that they could be ruining it for the people that are going to sink a ton of time into the game. And again, let me just say it again, because I know this is one of them things that just go in one ear and out the other. I'm not saying that if you don't know life the game that you don't have a voice. I am not saying that. Not saying that, just that the people that play the game more and have been playing from the beginning, their opinions should be valued more. Okay? That's what I'm saying. I know I have to repeat that because I know that's one of them things people are just going to overlook. They're not going to, it's just going to go in one ear and out the other. I know how this works. And I don't expect everybody to be able to no-life the game. Okay? Not saying that. Alright? You know? Maybe life gets in the way and you can't play the game, or maybe you just don't want to play that much of the game. I get that. But regardless of why you don't play Halo a lot, whether you can't or you just don't want to play that much, it's still the fact that you don't play a lot. And again, why should somebody that doesn't play the game a lot get their way over somebody who plays the game all day, every day? I mean, I don't get that. They shouldn't. That doesn't make sense to me. And again, when it comes to a game that I don't play a lot, like Counter-Strike, I have no problem accepting that those players who've been playing that game for years, that their opinions hold more value than mine, because I barely play the game. I have no problem accepting that. Throughout this video, not only did I talk about people who don't play a lot of Halo, but I also mentioned people that started playing with Halo Reach, or later, Halo 4 or Halo 5. And just because someone's introduction to Halo was with Reach or later, that doesn't necessarily mean that they don't put a ton of time into the game. Someone who started with Halo Reach, they could be someone who plays Halo all day, every day. That sinks a ton of time into the game. And when it comes to that, when it comes to players who were introduced to Halo with some of the later games in the series, my main concern with that is that they weren't playing classic Halo in its prime. You know, a lot of people feel that Halo 1 through 3 were the best Halo games, and people that started with Reach 4 and 5, they weren't playing them games, Halo 1 through 3. At least not when they were in their prime. If their first Halo was Reach 4 or 5, well, shit, all them games had sprint and abilities. And how those players feel about something like enhanced mobility may drastically differ from those of us who started playing with Halo 1 through 3. Like, those people who started playing Halo with Reach and later, they don't know what it's like to have played classic Halo for years, and then all of a sudden, sprint, armor lock, jetpack, Promethean vision in Halo 4, and Halo 5, everybody has multiple abilities. Like, they might not know what that was like. They might not understand how drastically Halo's gameplay has changed with sprint and abilities in the game. And I'm actually probably going to make another video just about armor and Spartan abilities in Halo, because there's a lot I can say about that topic. So how I see it, how I would kind of rank everybody's opinion would be like this. People who don't play a lot of Halo, people that they don't play much Halo at all, their opinions should be valued the least. Then it goes people who started playing Halo with Reach or later, but they do put a ton of time into the game, they play a lot, their opinions should be valued more than those people who just don't play a lot of Halo. And finally, those people who've been playing since Halo 1 through 3 and have invested so much time into playing Halo, their opinions should be valued the most. Their opinions should hold the most weight. So that's pretty much it. I know there's going to be people that disagree with me. I just know it. But I just can't see how I'm wrong about this. It makes too much sense to me. It just makes too much sense. Like, if you don't agree with that, if you don't agree that how much experience you have with doing something should determine how credible your opinions are, please explain that to me. Like, because I don't get that. I don't know. So that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate those of you who keep coming back and watching my videos, even though my uploads are all over the place. And I also appreciate those of you who are just finding the channel for the first time. Going forward, I'm going to keep trying to push out videos that I really want to make, and I'm actually going to start streaming soon, so be on the lookout for that. I'll let you guys know when I start streaming, if any of you care. But once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out, everybody.